our guru, and Mr. Green Screen. You're looking a little green there today, buddy.
Yeah, yeah, look at that. Whew, whew. I'm really on stage, guys. It's
Yeah,
true.
totally. Well, that actually is my daughter's desk back here, so I can grab her stuff. That's not green screen.
Oh, yeah, I
It's just
can.
a mess, so I blur it
I
out.
can wave all my hands.
Anyway,
There's
I
one
just
rule
want
for Geek.
to welcome everyone back here. So we've been doing a lot of kind of event not event stuff, but we've been doing a lot of focus on kind of just setting up your accounts and excuse me, set up your accounts and kind of looking at a little more tertiary activities. And today we're going to dive in. I think that's really kind of geek out a little bit today and understand some of the nuances that people don't spend a lot of time in.
Yes.
And so without further ado on that, Paul, where are we going to today
We're
besides
gonna
playing with the
we're
cat?
gonna pull my production assistant away from the webcam because he was
Yes.
about to knock it off. That's okay. He's good. He's gonna go chill in the window. So
Perfect.
today, let's talk about Events Manager.
What is Events
I was about to
Manager,
say,
Paul?
do you know what Events Manager is? So
I
if
do, but let's assume I don't.
sure. So Events Manager, as the name lends, it is where you can manage and see and look at the events that are happening in your data, basically. So on your Pixel, or if you're doing server side stuff, or if you were to make an app, that's the wineries don't do that. But if you had an app, then you would see the in-app events kind of thing. And there's a lot of cool stuff you can do as far as settings. And then also, it's a really, really good debugging tool
Mhm.
if you're trying to set something up new or just seeing how things are doing. So I think we should probably poke around there.
Let's poke
Um,
around there while you're setting that up. Just to put things into context, we're not talking about events like at the winery where you're having a release party or something like that. We're talking about events that are happening with inside of Facebook on the ads. Think of an event as possibly somebody's clicked something, an event somebody has taken action somehow, some way.
yeah. So here we are, business.facebook.com. Feel free to laugh at my weak little trends because I'm just one dude. I'm not like a whole winery here, but it's all the same kind of tools here.
You're real
Plus,
blurry there.
pardon?
It's really blurry. Let's see if we can do something about that.
Is it blurry?
Yeah.
Let me mute my video, and perhaps it's a bandwidth issue. It's kind of
Yeah,
dumb.
because you froze as well. So
Well, I hear you perfectly fine. We'll stop sharing.
your videos froze.
Great, I love it. Welcome to live, everybody. This is delightful. Uh, I think this happened last time as well.
It did.
This happened, yeah. As soon as I went to share my screen, Restream just like plotzed. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna actually refresh this. Oh no. Okay. You can still hear me though, yeah?
I can hear you, but you are now a flashing circle.
No, that's good. That's good. I muted my video because I guess we're just having some bandwidth. Plus, nobody wants to see how cool I look. Let's just go share the entire screen.
You have
And
hair. You look real cool, buddy.
thanks, buddy. So this should help because now we're not trying to transmit full video and full screen stuff on one little connection here. Is this a little better?
It's still
Thanks for
really
hanging
blurry,
out,
buddy.
everybody. You're the coolest I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's really blurry.
Really?
Yeah, I
Well
wonder
then.
if it's just. I wonder if it's. Let me see if I can maximize my screen here.
So while Mark's doing his magic, let's talk
No,
about this events manager for those that are watching, because your time is extremely valuable. The idea, like I said, with events manager, and we've been saying, is you can see the data that's hitting across your pixel server, things like that. So when you're looking at your POS, you can look and see, okay, what contents are people viewing. You can use this to debug if a certain thing is working or is not working. There's also, this is where the Apple privacy stuff comes into play, which I think we talk about in, I think it's module 4 of the winery business kit.
Yep.
But that happens in Events Manager, which we can go ahead and explore. And
Oh, there we go. We can see you're back now.
okay, cool.
Perfect.
Goofy, super goofy. I'm gonna have to call my internet service provider and give them what for? All 4 of them, all one of them. All right. So here we are, business.facebook.com, and on the left we have all tools and the little hamburger menu here, which gives us all of the stuff. And then the events manager opens in a new tab, and this is down. It's part of the advertise section, and it's down here with events manager. So when you click that, of course, this little symbol opens up in a new tab, and this is events manager. So it has a similar navigation to like to the ads manager, in that there is like some stuff on the left and whatnot. So this is like the home page, and who knows whatever's going on here. On the left is where the actual data sources show up. If you ever did want to set up a custom conversion, you could from Events Manager, but that's almost kind of deprecated, or it's not really important these days. 10 years ago, custom conversions were really important, but the Pixel is so powerful that practically any conversion type, whether it's somebody scheduling or adding to the cart or putting in payment info or purchasing, whatever, that's already built into the system. So I don't really play around with custom conversions a whole lot. And then of course there's all sorts of weird integrations here. Let's look at the data sources here. This will be great. Let's look at my charities. Wow, we actually get some traffic somehow. Look at that. So when you're looking at the data sources, you've got all the different assets that are associated with it. Okay. One thing to keep in mind is that you may have access to all sorts of pixels, but remember, it's the business that owns it. So if you needed to, in the upper right, you can change what assets you're looking at, what ad accounts specifically are connected to this particular pixel.
And so the use case for there is if you have multiple locations, or you've got microsites for specific product launches, things like that, right?
Yes. And even for a microsite, you may not want to create another pixel, because here's one thing most people don't know: you can't delete a pixel. Like once it's there, it's there. There's no way to delete a pixel. So if I were to, so great example, I got a client that uses ClickFunnels, which is it's a sales web page builder thing, if you've never heard of it. And it's, of course, it's not on the main clients.com website or .ca website. And they still use their main pixel on those pages because it's still like their one business here. There are some nerds out there that have different philosophies around having pixels for distinct things, because the pixel is like the thing that learns, quote, and I'm doing air quotes with my camera off. This is the thing that's like learning from the data. It's feeding the general meta mothership of data, but this is your data. So if you are super advanced, maybe you set up a pixel for white versus a white line pixel, then a red line pixel. Adminning that would be a nightmare, in that it would be very complex, and there would have to be distinct order of operations and like moments in launching stuff where you're like, all right, let's do the pixel stuff. But then in theory, you could have a pixel that's all white wine drinkers and a pixel that's all red wine drinkers. You could also do that with a single pixel using the different view content bits as well.
So I think the summary there is that the recommendation is just set up one pixel until you become an expert at this, or use the one pixel that already exists if you have
Mhm.
access to it. That
Yes.
really is the direction and the recommendation here.
Yes. Yes. It's creating a pixel beyond your main base pixel is, again, it's an advanced tactic. It's rare. I've done it with some clients that do, like, they've done like over the top demand side platform advertising, and they will have a pixel that they use exclusively just for the impression tracking,
Right.
uh, in addition to their other pixel. But again, that's big advanced stuff here, but it's possible. Um, and this is also where offline event data shows up, which offline data is basically like a pixel. And when I say offline, it means off the line of Meta's network, meaning it's a separate database set of data than yours, because obviously it's digital. So for like offline events, this is where we might be sending, maybe we upload a list of purchasers or something so you can upload events here. Again, this is a little more deprecated. It's not super common because with the integrations, it's usually happening through the pixel in the first place.
Hmm.
If you ever did need to manage your offline event stuff, and plus, you might want to have an offline event set just for extra data. So if the pixel fails, you can still send an offline event that somebody booked. So somebody books for whatever reason, the pixel fails. There's some goofiness because it happens. After they book, if you're sending that offline event that says, hey, they booked, you can kind of fill in the gaps and create a more complete picture of the data.
And so that might be if you're using like a phone in system, or you don't have access to be able to add pixel data to a reservation system, that kind of stuff.
Exactly. Yep. If
Yeah.
there's just something where you cannot automatically push data to Meta through the pixel somehow or through the server, um, which the pixel and server are, it's two different ways to do the same thing, basically. The pixel, of course, happens, I like how I say, of course, the pixel is a function of the user's browser, right? So my phone, my tablet, whatever that I did a booking or bought wine on. And then the server is the business who's saying, oh, look, somebody bought this wine. I'm going to push that data not through the pixel, but just directly to the server.
Right.
Again, it creates a more holistic picture of the data. Um, so let's look at this. This is not super exciting because it's the charity website, and then the Data Winterfest happens January, so we don't really have any pixel activity here. As far as, what we could do, let's just look at B Pro, because we do have, obviously we got our pixel going on, a little more going than the charity and whatnot. And I'm just going to search for B Pro because there you go. Okay. So here's our pixel here. You can see there's data kind of coming in, and then we can also see what kind of data is happening. And so, for example, looking at this is an opportunity for me. Whenever a purchase comes in, I could totally use something like Zapier to push that through to the pixel using the server, not the browser pixel itself. As far as Events Manager, though, there you go. We actually have some data here. So let's look at this page view thing, right? So within this, we can adjust the event if we need to, but the fun stuff is looking at the details. This is where we do debugging and things like that. So we can see here's what's been going on. This is broken down by the data source, which in this case, it's just browser stuff. It's not server stuff. We can see what URLs are people coming from. That's wild. So there you go. I'm not sure why a bunch of people are going there, but okay. And then we can see like the domains, and then we can look at, there you go, that makes sense. We can look at devices, so like who's using our stuff. And this is all information that by itself is useless. It can inform business decisions though. And I guess whatever device types don't like it. You can also see what events, if any, are being used in any ads. We're not running any ads at the moment. Yeah. Again, I can't be super crazy, showing any random client because, privacy and all that. Again, this is really helpful as far as being able to see kind of what's going on. There's also the high level idea of you can just see, what's the data set? It's basically the pixel. What websites is this showing up on? And are there any integrations going on? So for example, we're just using the pixel. There's a lot that you can do here. 7 last received 3 days ago, but it doesn't say view details. That's kind of goofy, but whatever. Okay, so you see this. So this is the pixel conversion API, all this info, right? You see this aggregated event measurement over here. This is the whole Apple iOS stuff, which again, we cover this in module 4. The idea is that there's many different events that exist on the pixel. Again, there's like page view, add to cart, payment info, add to wish list, search, like probably 50 something. There you go, 50 events right there. There you go, standard events. There's a whole bunch of them. The privacy that Apple does just means you can only have 8 events, which for most businesses that's fair. But the idea is Apple just doesn't want you to be able to suck all possible data out. So fine, here's the events we're going to use, and it aggregates those anonymously, so you can still run ads and know that stuff is working, but the privacy is still kind of protected.
And Paul, but within that too, I mean, one of the reasons why we want to understand specifically these events is these are the type of events that we use to then build audiences around. What else can we use them for?
I mean, that's it. You build audiences around this, and then it's like where can you drive in a car? So what direction are you pointing? Like this is like the foundational, and you can create an audience of anything, and then use that to advertise across any objective with any creative. So again, this is that foundational stuff that's got to be set up correctly. Otherwise, you can't make audiences.
Now, I think one of the other things too, in from the training, pulling forward some information there is the key thing is to be strategic about what events you're actually using. It goes back to the Apple situation and only being able to choose 8 activities that you're monitoring from an events perspective. But also, I want you to think about it from this perspective: is when you're looking at the performance of Facebook and when you're looking at when people are going to the website, this gives you, in addition to Google Analytics, this gives you some more telemetry and data into who's actually going, where they're coming from. And so page views, Paul, if you could scroll up just a sec so we can see those 3 events, right? So if we look, just scroll up just a little bit because our faces are covering over a bit. Nope, just to see the list of events. Oh, is that as far as we go?
That's as far as I can go, yeah.
Okay, let's just slide this down here. Okay, so you've got page views, initiate checkout, and view content. So if I look at that, I say, okay, cool. Lots of people go to the page, relatively speaking, but only 7 people have initiated checkout. So in a very easy way, you can look at it and say, okay, what's going on? Why are people going? I'm not saying they're going from Facebook to your page, but why are we only pixeling data that's going page view into checkout, right? So if thank you. If from the store perspective, if that's what we're trying to achieve, and look at those metrics, that's actually quite a low ratio. And then what's the view content? What would that be, Paul?
So view content is more of a specific kind of page view. And I guess I just want to throw some context onto this. This is my business's website, which we're a high-end boutique agency. And so we don't sell e-commerce online. But again, I can't just be showing anybody, everybody's pixel and their mom here. So the exercise here is just learning what the tool has, which actually having small amounts of data like this kind of makes it easier to walk through.
Exactly.
So the difference between a view content and a page view is that a page view is literally just the pixel has fired effectively. Somebody has loaded a page with the pixel on it. As far as viewing content, yes, of course, obviously they're viewing content on that page. This, though, is where you would actually want to send a view content event for they viewed this red, they viewed this white, they viewed the booking page. Correct. So it's a more intentional page view than just the page is loaded.
Yeah, and then that's what I was getting at, Paul, is the view content. If we look at them from comparison, and when you're setting up your pixels and your events on your site, is that view content is the 1, 2, 3 pages that you're focusing on. So let's say it's weddings, right? And you want view content off of your weddings. So what is that as a percentage of all of your page views? But also now it gives you the opportunity to say, okay, what I am sending ad traffic to my audience of people that went to the wedding page, how many people am I actually sending that to? Oh, 5 in this case, or 55, sure, or 505. Now I can begin to see, from allocating my resources, are people even going there? Because if I'm not getting any pixel fires, it doesn't make sense to create the ads until I drive the traffic, right?
Yes. The other thing too is that when you're other than a page view with any of these events, it's not just the event. There's information that comes with it.
Yes.
So, for example, let's see if we can do this without getting too crazy. So if I go to add an event, I don't want a custom conversion. I don't want to add a new integration. If I go to create, what's a good example here? Usually I just Google standard standard events. Well, I mean, this homepage is pretty handy just to there you go. You can see there's all sorts of stuff going on here. For an event, I'm trying to think of an example. What's an example? I'm just going to do it. Just Facebook standard events, because literally this is because I've visited this page many times. So when you're sending over a view content, right? Under the hood, what's happening is you're saying track view content. However, you want to send information with it. Come on. Best practices. Specifications. There you go. This should be the full list of standard events. There you go. It's actually on the developer site. Okay, this is what we were going for. Thanks for hanging out with us, everybody. So view content, right? So here's the view content event. And you can push this information to it. So what is the specific, I'll zoom in a little bit. What is the specific ID? So maybe this is the SKU or the do you guys have stock keeping units up there?
Yep.
Yep. Okay, so maybe this is the SKU. I would recommend making it the SKU. Then of course the category, red wine, name, ready make, red face, whatever. If you have content type, any kind of contents, whatever the currency is and the value of it. Because now when you make an audience of people, you can say make an audience of people that they view this content, and it was also in this specific category.
Right. And
So
so if I can just pause you there for a sec, Paul, can,
yeah,
the key thing with that is now if we look at it, when we're building audience, the power behind what Paul's just showing here is that instead of just grabbing pixels of people that went to the website and the pixel fired, by utilizing the view content event in there and adding this additional information specifically to those elements, you can now, if we use content category as the example, you now can advertise to red or white drinkers. Or if
yes,
there's a dollar value, right, and you're trying to put the value, and these people have only chosen the premium wines that are more expensive, red or white, or rosé or ice or sparkling or whatever it ends up being. Now you can target people that have looked at pages, viewed content where the value is
got it.
greater than $50,
I
right?
found it. So I have a real life example of this, and it's using Google Tag Manager, and it does get a little codey, but
Perfect.
10,000-foot view. We have a digital tracking setup ebook, and I mean, we launched this a couple years ago, and we use Google Tag Manager to manage all the pixel stuff. It's like a master pixel, easiest way to think about it. And we use view content here. So we're inside Google Tag Manager for B Pro. We're looking at only the Facebook stuff. And I want to show this offer view tag. There you go. So you can see if somebody scrolls to the point where we give the price on the web page, we know that they viewed the content of the ebook. So we're pushing view content with the required stuff. This is a variable. We update this in one place. All the tags get updated. But we're passing the value, currency IDs, and the content type, which that was what we were looking at over here.
Right.
And then they even explain what the different keys are. So for example, content type, it's either product or product group. That's it. So that's why this says product. As far as the content IDs, whatever you want. Again, I'd make it SKUs. Category, again, it's a string, this kind of stuff. So
and for those of you who haven't seen this is now when I said in the preview to this about geeking out. When we talk about value types or data types, a string is what that is basically letters and numbers together, right? That's one way to look at it. And so now here you are, you're going to that page, right?
yeah, I want to show you what this is doing here and why Tag Manager is so rad, because you'll notice that it's view content when they scroll to a certain point in the page. So I want you to see this here. Of course, it goes right to the checkout. This should be the sales letter for it. Okay, cool. So here's the sales letter for it. It's got the old logo, of course. I should probably. Oh, you know why this is up to date? Because this piece of code will always spit out whatever the year is. But you can see the pixels here, page view, right? That's it. So check this out. We scroll down, whatever. If you don't look at your old marketing and get like, oh God, that was so ugly, you're not growing. I thought this was the best sales page ever back in the day. All right, so $7 now, right? You'll notice now there is the view content event that's fired, because I nerdily figured out what percentage of the page you had to scroll to in order to see that it was $7, and then I fired view content.
And so how can you use that information now?
I can go ahead and create an audience for people, and that was the next thing I wanted to do, right? So view content. So if we go to the audiences here, go to our main ad account. If I wanted to create an audience using that data, I can go make a custom audience using my website data. And I can say using the pixel that has hit the view content in the last 30 days, I'm going to refine it though. And we're going to say that, okay, the content ID was, where's that page? The content ID was DTS ebook. There you go. The digital tracking setup ebook. So now, there we are. So now not only did they view the content, it's the specific type of content, and that's the audience I want, and then I would remarket from that.
So Paul, can you do me a favor? Can you bring up John's website, thehairwineco.com? And specifically, I want to kind of now show you, and then we're going to cut off to the member section because we're going to even nerd out a bit more.
I spelled it wrong. I know I spelled it wrong. How do we?
Yeah, thehairwineco.com.
The
Hairwineco. There it is. Yeah.
Okay. I'm like, there's no way. Okay.
Okay, so it's got the
no. Okay, yes.
So go up to top menu, weddings.
Okay, I'm just for funsies. Let's see what's going on here. So we have 2 pixels on the site, and that's okay. Sometimes you want 2 pixels, or
we don't own either of them. We're still fighting with Google to get those 2 pixels. but I want to.
Don't tell them that.
Yeah. So what I want to share with you is how this can be used, right? So here's their wedding venue page, right? So the first button is at the top in the red, kind of learn more. That's all cool. But normally what you would need is to streamline this a little bit more is how far has somebody gone down the page? All we know right now from a pixel audience creation is that there's someone has clicked on the page, but this specifically doesn't have an event view to scroll down. So if I wanted to see, did somebody scroll all the way to the bottom of this page, then I would have that to go 95, 85, 90% of the page, and then just fire off that view content page. Why is that important? Well, if somebody's gone top to bottom and not just clicked away, what that gives us the opportunity now to do, and Paul, correct me if I'm wrong here, but is if I'm looking at where am I investing my ad spend, I'm going to invest my ad spend on somebody that spent time on this page and gone all the way through it versus somebody that clicked on it and left.
100%. It's like in the business kit, we recommend making a lookalike of the top 25% of people. Thinking about it like your wineries, these are the people that they were in the staging seating area, waiting to be seated, and they had to wait an hour. 75 people walk out, but 25 of them stayed and waited an hour. Those are the people I want to find more of.
Absolutely.
So that's exactly what you're talking about. So yes, we can remarket to people that have hit weddings. However, if they've scrolled, whatever 80% or something in the page, then yeah, let's add them to like a super hot version. And that's where, looping it back, this is where Events Manager can be very handy because you can actually have test events.
Right.
You can actually test from here because there's all this stuff up here. So when you're looking at the pixel and you look at the test events, you can pop in your website URL, open it up, and then it'll tell you what is it seeing effectively. Right. So like, because this is my pixel, yeah, it's going to open the website, whatever. Cool, the pixel's loaded, we're good. We should see, there you go, test events. And then as I scroll down, get to the price, we trigger the offer, and then now there you go, view content. So Events Manager is very, very, very important to understand just how to use from a standpoint of, it's mostly a diagnostic thing, which is fine as far as Events Manager, but you got to get this right. Because I've worked with clients where the pixel would fire twice, or like people would register for something and the register event would happen but the pixel itself didn't load first, so like it was an error.
Right.
And then this tells us, hey, this is what happened. There you go. You can see here's all the info of it. Ooh, cool.
So
they're always adding new stuff.
This, I'm
That's why
going
I'm like,
to.
oh, cool.
As Paul's looking at some of the new features since he's been last in here, what we're going to do is we'll say goodbye to everyone that is not a member yet. If you want to be a member, please do so. You can go to DTC Web Marketing Heroes and become a member, and you don't have to buy any of the services or any of the training. You can just automatically become a member, and you get access to the rest of this conversation. We're going to talk a little bit more detail because I've got a couple of points to talk about here. So without further ado, let's I've been saying that a lot, further ado. I don't know what that means, but anyway, let's say goodbye to you guys. You guys, where is, I always forget which one this
And
is.
then let me stop sharing briefly, and then I think I don't think I'm streaming on my stuff anymore, right? Like that's okay. So like you control that. So
yeah.
Okay. Because it says it's streaming, but okay,
Oh,
we got this. Whatever.
yeah, no. I'm streaming our stuff. You'd have to cancel yours.
Okay, let me do that then. Okay. All right, everybody. We're gonna go ahead and turn this off, and that off, and that off.